Hello there folks, it's TIJ Gaming and welcome back to our F1 2012 Williams career mode, and today we go to the second race of the season at Malaysia, one of the tracks that is now off the F1 calendar, and I have to say it was probably one of my favourites. The reason why it got took off, it got took off 2016 was it? I think it hasn't been on the calendar for 2 years now. Was it 2016? I think it was 2016, but basically this front grandstand that you're seeing here was basically a half full. Fans couldn't really get to the circuit, and that was a little bit disappointing, but as a circuit I did quite like it, and it's a bit of a tricky one to find the setup on, as the write-up says on the screen there, but I quite like the track. It suits me quite well. We'll say this now, did dreadfully this weekend, but it wasn't the best race for us in Australia. We finished, I think, in 16th or 17th, Maldonado in 14th, but it wasn't the best race for us Williams drivers, and considering we've got to try and finish 9th and 10th respectively in the drivers, which means that we've got to finish pretty much 5th in the constructors, we have got to start scoring some points pretty much straight away. But what you might notice is that I've got a bit of a cold. I'm not feeling particularly well, but hopefully that's okay for you guys. I might have to take a few stops throughout the video, but you know, as terms of pit stops, but I will cut those out, of course. But hopefully, let's just get on with it now. I could do with a few laps around Malaysia before I show you guys, just to get familiar with the circuit again, and hopefully it should go well. Of course, this circuit being one that threw up quite a few surprises in the 2012 season. I was talking about last episode how this was the famous season with 7 winners in the first 7 races. Well, of course, this race saw Alonso win the race, with Perez nearly winning it for Sauber, which would have been their first win since Canada 2008 with Robert Kubica, which would have been absolutely amazing. Was it? Yeah, he was at Sauber, of course he was. But Perez just finished behind Alonso in the end, and that just proves what shake-ups Malaysia can throw up. Again, the next year, of course, we had drama in 2013 with the whole multi-21 situation between Webber and Vettel. How that's 6 years ago now, I honestly don't know. 2014, I can't particularly. I think 2014, wasn't that Ricciardo's first win or something like that? I think it was. I think Ricciardo won that race. And then I think Verstappen's won here as well. I think he might have won the 2016 race. I'm sure he did. But nonetheless, we're on about 2012 today, a year that, you know, Verstappen, the likes of Verstappen, weren't even credited really. He was only known as the son of Jos Verstappen. But our objective today is to finish 16th or above in the qualifying rounds. So as long as we can get out of Q1, which to be fair we did do last time, as long as we can get out of Q1 we should be okay. But there's a little bit of risk of rain for the race tomorrow, which makes it a little bit interesting. But let's go out on track, see how we can get on, and hopefully we can finish quite comfortably in the top 17. Well, I haven't driven around this track for a long time. It's definitely been a few years, but automatically I'm getting pretty well accustomed to it. But what I will say is that we might have made a little bit of a mistake with our setup. Our setup doesn't really prioritise top speed. It's more downforce based, which means on the 2 straights, this being the back straight and the front straight, we don't have the most speed. We are going to max out, particularly on that front straight, which is a little bit longer than this one, but you can see here that we are maxing out nonetheless. But it does give us a little bit more grip in these tight corners. A lot of the corners on this track are of second gear, third gear, quite slow, tight corners, but our first lap wasn't really much to speak of. 1.3 seconds off Maldonado, way in front of Kovalainen in the Caterham, but just getting used to this track again is a big thing, because it's been a long time, but as I said, I think we are getting used to it quite quickly, just learning how we can go with the DRS in terms of, can we do it through this corner, can we do it through that corner, and how can we gain the most speed. But we should be okay. I think we can get out of Q1 quite easily. I mean, we're above Maldonado, despite being 2 tenths off, in fact, on our first sector from last time, which is quite interesting, actually. But this is one I do struggle with. I do struggle with this corner, just keeping it just on the track. And then this tight bend here, I mean, we took it a lot better than we did last time on my lap. This seems to be a bit more of a flowing lap, but it's all about learning what the gears are in terms of the corners, making sure we don't downshift too much. But this looks like a lot more of a flowing lap, so I'll see you guys at the end of the lap just to see how we get on. Bit of traffic up ahead, which is never great coming into the end of the lap, but luckily the Force India moves out the way. We're going to have to do a bit of negotiating through the traffic, but luckily Kovalainen and the Force India moved out the way quite well. Get a bit of slipstream from this HRT, would you believe it, up the straight. Let's see how we get on though compared to Jean-Eric Vergne. Our last sector I don't think is particularly good, but if we keep it tight to the line we should be quite well. Where's this going to put us? It's certainly better than the last lap, and it's a 1:37.9, which is a few tenths behind Maldonado, albeit. But it's good progress to be made, and just look how much we're gaining on car for Kane just in that first corner. But I don't think the fuel's going to last another lap. We're going to try for it. We're going to try and see if we can do another lap, but we'll see if we can improve. But I think this should be enough nonetheless to get us through to Q2. Yeah, we're over a second off now in these sectors, so it doesn't seem much point continuing the lap. But that should be enough to get us through to Q2, to be honest. I mean, we're ahead of Hulkenberg, which he's quite a good driver, he's respectable. But it seems John-Eric Verne's popping in the quick laps, which is interesting, in the Toro Rosso. But I think that should be enough to get us through to Q2. But we'll find out in due course whether that is enough to get us through to the second qualifying session. Well, with 5 minutes to go, we're a healthy sort of 6 tenths nearly from the drop zone. So I don't see any point in going out again. But what I will say, look at the drivers behind us. Raikkonen in the Lotus, Rosberg in the Mercedes, Massa in the Ferrari nearly out in Q1. That would be a brilliant thing that would shake up the field. But Ricciardo, the leader from Q1, you'll remember in Australia if you watched that video. But it seems that our Sector 1 is very good compared to, in fact, the rest of the field. The 24.8... Obviously, the Sector 1s are from these laps only, but our Sector 1 is really, really good. So, I think it's just all about working on that last sector. You'll see that we're 7 tenths behind Raikkonen in that last sector. So, we've got to work on that a little bit, but I think we are going to be through quite easily now till the next session. Which we are. You can see there, respectable lap within a second of Alonso. Obviously, he's going to improve in the next session, but very interesting that Maldonado's up there again. But I do feel that the likes of Rosberg, Raikkonen and Massa have got more to offer. So it's the usual 6 out in the session along with Daniel Ricciardo from Toro Rosso. But let's just see if we can give it our all and maybe get into Q3. We've ventured out the pits then in Q2. There's about 7 minutes to go. Gives us enough time to register a few laps in this session. And hopefully that should be enough. That force indy's got incredibly wide there. We are going to be really lazy here just to save fuel. I was conscious in the last section that we could have done the third lap, but it was just the case that it took too long, really, in terms of the fuel going down. But, I mean, to be honest, if you look at that time, that 37.5, I think that's achievable. I mean, we need to gain a few tenths, granted, on what we had last time out. But let's go on our flying lap. We've hopefully got 3 of them to do what we can, and let's see if our first sector, which has been particularly good, can help us to get into Q3. Well, I'll be honest, we have really thrown it about this lap. It's been a bit scrappy. We're a little bit off in that second sector, but it's all going to be about this last sector as to how we can get into the Mac mix. We need to get quite a tight angle on this last corner, something we haven't done so far. We've got the DRS. We have got 2 laps, of course, after this. I don't think it's going to compete with Kobayashi's effort, but where is it going to put us nonetheless? Puts us in P14. It's an improvement on our last qualifying position, but I do think we can gain half a second, particularly in this first corner. We were quite wide out there. I didn't show you, but we were quite wide out there last time out, so I think an improvement in this first sector, which is our good sector anyway, good few attempts in this sector, a bit of a less scrappy lap, and hopefully we're a little bit closer to the target that Kobayashi set. Oh, you idiot, Rosberg. Dear. Well, that's ruined our lap. Rosberg just on the racing line, clearly on a cool-down lap, on the racing line. Absolutely stupid that was. We'd had quite an improvement in that first sector. Now we've just got to really coast it around just to make sure we've got enough fuel to do another lap. But the pressure's on now. It's really one-shot qualifying time. This is one of the problems with coming out quite late. Look at the traffic we've got here. We've got Schumacher and we've got Button. Luckily, they both let us through quite easily, but not the best. Look at that first sector, though. Fantastic. But we've got to keep that advantage in these 2 sectors here. It feels like we get that advantage in the first sector, which is quite a simple sector, albeit. And we kind of lose it in these 2 here, and that's not the best angle around that corner, but we've tried to throw it around a little bit. Not too bad. Let's see, though, what we can do in this second sector. So this is where we let ourselves down, but a little bit more aggressive through there. Let's see where we're going to get to at the end of this sector. Luckily, I don't think there's any traffic in the near vicinity anyway. There might well be a bit later on, but I don't think it's going to affect us in this lap, which is all that matters. But we are way up on Raikkonen's time that he's set. So can we keep that advantage into this last sector? Because if we can, this will make this an almighty lap. But we're running a little bit low on fuel. It'll be typical that we run out of it. But hopefully, what is in our way is just a Lotus, which is probably Raikkonen himself, to be honest. But they're going to get out of the way quite graciously, I think, here. What is Grosjean doing? Get over. Right, Vettel, oh, you're pushing us out now. That's just dirty. But, yeah, hopefully we don't run out of any fuel. Good sort of a decent line round there. Keep it tight now. Tight. I think we're going to do it. I think we are. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes! What a lap that was. What a fantastic lap. And that, ladies and gents, puts us into P4. Wow. What a lap that was. And it just proves that at low fuel, what the potential of this car is. And that's no doubt going to impress frag the rest of the team. And I don't see now how we're going to be overtook by 6-7 drivers. So that, I think, is us officially through to the third qualifying session, which compared to the P16 we had last time is nothing short of fantastic. Well, there we go. Look at that. Only 6 tenths separated us and Pasta, but that was the crucial bit, making sure we kept our advantage in the second and third sectors. And provisionally, we've out-qualified our teammate by at least 3 places, which will definitely impress the team. But some big names out in that session, including the likes of Grosjean. And, well, I think we'll struggle to finish anywhere above 10th in this session. But if we can get anywhere close to the 4th we were last time, this is a real opportunity for some big points around this racetrack. There's not much... Oh, dear. Well, I was just about to say there's not much risk attached here. Look at this. Look at this track. Look. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Would you believe it? Well, we're not going to finish anywhere above 10th at this stage. Just come out, thought, look, we're going to do 1 lap. We're going to try and do something, but it's absolutely tipping it down now. And that is the end of our qualifying session. But just to get to Q3 is nothing short than fantastic. And hopefully, I wouldn't mind these conditions tomorrow. Bearing in mind we should hopefully be on a tyre that's a little bit more suited to this racetrack, unlike these. Do a bit of drifting though.
3 minutes to go.
Hopefully that doesn't cost the team anything. We haven't lost anything, I don't think, there. So, yeah, on to the race tomorrow then. Well, would you look at that? You wouldn't believe it was raining, would you, yesterday? Glorious weather. The sun shines over Malaysia in Sepang. Our objective has been elevated purely because of our qualifying position, and we have to gain 2 positions in this race. Well, there's a 17% chance of rain, which makes things a little bit interesting. But we're going to just stick with the option and prime strategy. We went for prime option last time, which I think did upset us a little bit. We didn't do particularly well out of it. But what I am hoping for from this start is that we have a good first sector, so we have a good start. Maybe get into the top 7 or 8, which I don't think is unrealistic. Get into those positions, hold that position, and definitely pick up some good points come the end of the race. And rain would only spice the action up even more. But Jensen Button on pole for this race. Ourselves, of course, in P10 and Pastor Maldonado 3 places behind in his beloved 13th place. But certainly a startling contrast to where we started in the last race. In front of a Lotus and behind a Ferrari. The lights illuminate above the drivers, though. We have 5 lights and we are away here in Malaysia. Just going to power that KERS. Look at the start we've got. I don't care. We're going to use pretty much all of our KERS because we've got past Massa, definitely. Look at the front runners. Oh, Jesus Christ, Schumacher. But this is a good start for us. Just keep nice and cautious into this corner. Bear in mind Raikkonen's on our right-hand side. No, it's Rosberg, sorry. Give Hamilton some space. Maybe get into the middle. Sorry, Rosberg, going to have to push you out. But what a start this has been. And, oh, careful of Alonso on that left-hand side. Rosberg's on our inside. But we can fight Rosberg into this corner. What a start this has been. We could never have dreamed of this. And in fact, we're going to go up the inside of Vettel. Is Webber going to block that, though? He is. But what a pass that was. And now we are fighting with Mark Webber. And would you believe it? What a start that has been. What an absolutely fantastic start. It's an all-British top 2, certainly not in the way you'd expect. And that is an absolutely fantastic start for us. Couldn't have dreamt of anything better than that. Just a bit more aggressive on the start, not overly aggressive, just picking our points where we can get passes. And that first sector, which we did say before, was a good point of ours, has certainly propelled us up the field. But I never dreamed it'd be as high up as this. The question is now, is whether we can hold anything that resembles second place. Well, this is where I feel we might get let down. I was talking earlier about our straight line speed, which isn't fantastic. We sacrificed that a little bit in the setup. And I do wonder whether Mark Webber will go for the pass at this corner. We're going to leave the space for him, but he doesn't at this corner, interestingly. The AR aren't too aggressive, admittedly, on F1 2012, but I mean, we're competitive. It's certain that they're not right up our backside, but at the same time, we're not pulling away from them. I mean, Button's gone, so it's proving that we're a long way off the pace of the front runners. But if we can hold them back, then that's a very good job, well done, and that's not going to help the fact that our front ref was put in the gravel a little bit there. But a very good start to this race, I have to say. Amazing stuff. Well, we've built quite a gap, actually, to Webber and the cars behind. I keep looking behind me a lot, which is probably something we shouldn't do. But it seems that they've all got embroiled in their own battle behind us, which means that, like Button ahead, we can pull away. Which is amazing, to be honest, because we should not be in this position by any stretch of the imagination, really. Our potential should be about 7th or 8th, but the team felt this car was good, and maybe this car does suit us, but it's certainly a stark contrast to where we were in the first race. But as you can see, it's really Webber that's holding up that pack now, with Vettel and I think it's probably Alonso behind him, one of the Ferraris anyway. But it makes things a lot more interesting than it would be for them. But for us, I'm quite happy to stick in second. It might be a bit of a boring race, but we can save our fuel, and in the case rain does come, we can be one of the first to react to it, which is really exciting. And I think the win's gone. I think, to be honest, I don't know why we're talking about the win, because that's just too complacent, because this really is only a permanent position. I can imagine once the pit stops all come into effect that we are going to be demoted from second place. But I suppose you never know. You never know. My fear was about the DRS that the other drivers would have behind us. But luckily, because they're more than a second behind, there's no threat of that so far. So, to be fair, we're doing well. And Button only set a lap that was 5 tenths quicker than us last time out. So, he's not pulling away ridiculously. It seems that Vettel's got past Webber, though, now. And it wonders me, before long, whether he'll have a bit of an opponent to try and wrestle in Sebastian Vettel. I mean, it hasn't even been a lap, and it seems Vettel's a lot quicker than his teammate. He's about 7 tenths behind us, so he is going to get DRS here. And coupled with our poor straight line speed, which is just because of our setup, not the car, I think Vettel's going to absolutely trounce here. But we're going to use all our curves down the straight. Might be a bit of a risk. We don't need to use all of it, but he's not opened the DRS. I wonder why that is, but unless it's a glitch that we can't see. But he hasn't gone for the pass, amazingly, there. Put us offline a little bit now. But he's definitely going to have DRSs, no question about that. There we go. He's opened the DRS flap now. And it's just down to us to try and keep him behind. But look how quickly he's coming past. There's no way we're going to keep that. We're going to dive up the inside, though, into the first corner. See if we can keep the position. I think we have. I think we've done that very well. Well, Vettel had DRS, and he thought he'd mugged us, to be honest, I think. And we've mugged him right back. Well, would you believe it? Fighting with Red Bulls in our second race. Well, it seems if you look at the mini-map, on the contrary to our really good fortune, our teammates in the pits. So we've got ourselves in second, we've got Maldonado at the back, and this weekend really couldn't be a stark contrast. And of course, it spells something that's really good for ourselves. But for Maldonado and the team, obviously, it's not just all about ourselves. For the team, for our constructors' place, it's not looking good for Pasta. Here comes Vettel again. He's proper behind us. Is he going to go for the move up the inside, though? He's not. Well, that's interesting. But of course, we have to come into the pits this lap. I reckon we're going to rejoin in second, because I don't know why. I don't really know why. It's because everyone else is pitting this lap, which might make things a lot more chaotic. I wonder whether we can stop out for another lap. I'm not sure. But I think those strategies, it was proven by last race by trying to go for the prime option strategy, which didn't really work, to be honest. So I think we're going to go with a generic strategy. We can't be left behind by anyone in that case. But I'll tell you what, this rain that's got about 20% chance, I don't see it coming. So it's just going to be an option prime switch. Maybe a trickle of rain in the last few laps, but not enough to make us pit. Certainly not like it was in qualifying, in that in second or third gear we were skating around the track. But it's been a fantastic race so far. Not one that's been too eventful, I can appreciate that. But this is brilliant. Just putting it to Rich Mix coming up this straight, because I do worry that what will happen is what usually happens on these old games, that you pit, you get in your box, a hell of a lot of other drivers pit, and you are held for a ridiculous amount of time. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully I haven't jinxed us, but we are going to come into the pits. Button's coming to the pits as well, which is interesting. Now, what's the pit limiter button? Does it do it automatically? No, it doesn't. So we've got to get down to the speed, which I don't know what it is. Is it 60 or is it 30? Well, it's luckily 60, and we've got down to that speed. A lot of drivers coming into the pits. Button's already out of his pit box. See what I mean about a few drivers coming in? Luckily, it's not as many as I thought it would be. But let's see how this pit stop goes. No daft wing change. Good stop onto the primes. Can we go now? We can. Brilliant stop. And crucially, we're out ahead of Vettel, and that's brilliant. Now, good outlap, and we should retain our position. So, no worries about any sort of daft being held, but a very good pit stop from the Williams crew. They're very quick. I have to say, though, blimey, there's no grip on these tyres whatsoever. I can feel it already. These might not suit us so much, because we like throwing the car around, I think, on this track, which the primes don't necessarily suit. They last a little bit longer, and they're not as good tyres because they do last as long. That's hence why in the old days you did have the Prime and Option. The Option tyres didn't last as long but gave you the grip and performance, but these Primes don't certainly give the grip and performance in which the Options do by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, even Hulkenberg's pulling away, but I'm sure Vettel's going to have the same problem, so it'd be interesting to see whether the impact to these tyres is short-term, in that it might just be that we're struggling to warm them up or something, or whether we are going to fall down the grid now. But we've got to keep positive, but we can't get complacent at the same time. But I'd be happy with 8th place, I really would, if we stay here, but I'm conscious that a lot of these are going to come into the pits, and hopefully we can retain at least a top 5. Well, they're all in behind us. Well, the driver's in front of us in this case, but look who that is. That might well be Webber, who might jump us here. Who's that? Oh, Vettel's going for the pass, and Vettel's got us, but we can just outbrake him here. But Mark Webber with the overcut. Well, well, well. Now, let's just have a quick look at the race director. Has everyone been in the pits at this point? They must have done, because they're all behind us. Wow. Well, Schumacher's out. That's interesting. No race incidents. But yeah, everyone's been in the pits. So, it's going to be 3rd or 4th for us. Webber has got past. He's jumped us in the pits with that good overcut. But, Button's going to win this quite comprehensively, I'd say. I doubt we're going to be able to catch up to Webber. So, it might be a podium, might be 4th place, but that is an absolutely fantastic achievement. So, if we're a front runner, I'd be a bit cheesed off that Webber's jumped us in the pits, but good strategy there, and I'm sure Vettel won't be too happy about that. But at the moment, we probably will be at the end of the race. We're in a Red Bull sandwich. I think Vettel's closer than he has been all the time. Look at this. He's going to just try and ram raid down our outside. Can we go with the same tactic again? Of course we can. Well, he's been poor, Vettel has today, in his passing technique. Saying that, that's not a great corner from us there. Vettel's going to be alongside. We've tapped him. But we're fine. Both drivers are fine. Just a racing incident there. But Vettel's instincts in passing us have been quite poor, to be honest. He's gone with the DRS. He's charged in front. And they just left a big gap at the first corner. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But is he? I don't know if he's quicker or not, because in these sections, he's falling behind. So, I think we justify our place in 3rd, certainly. Ooh, look at that. Well, first slip we've had all race. Definitely a bit of a slip and slide there. We managed to keep it adrift. But Vettel's took us for the moment. And he's on the inside, so we've got to respect that. But he will have DRS, unfortunately, because he's the lead driver. Oh, no, we've got DRS. Well, this makes things interesting, doesn't it? So with DRS, we can pull away from Vettel. But look who that is in the background. It's Lewis Hamilton. And with both Vettel and Hamilton, to be honest, I do not fancy fighting both of them off at the same time. So there's 5 laps to go, and it's certainly not a foregone conclusion yet that we're going to finish in 3rd. Oh! Well, it's happened again. Oh, dear. Twice in quick succession, really, that sort of spinning action's happened. Whether it's these tyres or what, but it's happened again. And now Vettel can go. Well, that's a real shame, because I don't think Vettel was any quicker than us behind us. But you can bet your life now he's gone, he can pull away massively. That's a real shame. No podium for us then today. Oh dear, we're really in a rut now. We've lost our consistency. No problems for a good race, really. A good 9 laps. And that first sort of drift we had at the corner we're coming up to now might hamper us come the end of the race. But we've got to focus on, you know, you can't focus on the past, can't focus on the fact, oh, well, we struggled against Vettel. We've just got to make sure we keep our fellow Brit, Lewis Hamilton, at bay, which is not going to be an easier job than we expect. It's going to be quite a hard job. We're giving him the space he deserves on the outside, but he doesn't go for it, doesn't pursue that at the moment. But I feel like he might well do after this last corner. He's a lot closer than Vettel. They try and cover up the inside, but look, he's gone. And wow, he has pulled away massively. Does this deserve a dive up the inside? We're going to go for it. And we've done it. Well, I thought Lewis had gone there, but the brakes on this car seem to be brilliant. We can just dive up the inside, make that first corner without any issue, and we blocked off all the DRS attempts at that first corner there all race, which makes it so frustrating that we let Vettel through at this corner here by just having a bit of a lapse in concentration. This mustn't be a double DRS zone then. It must have been later then that it turned into a double DRS zone, because none of the drivers that have been behind us at any point have had the DRS open here. So it must just be this section here that we're coming up to that's a DRS zone. But I think Lewis is going to go up our inside again. We're going to try and block it off. Oh, well, we've hit him. Definitely not intentional. He's covering the inside though now, which means we have to negotiate the outside line. We've slipped a little bit on the outside there. Lewis is ahead. Oh, he's kept it, to be fair. Well, that's good. Fair play to him. Let's chase him down, though, on this straight. I don't care if we use all of our curs. He's certainly helping us catch up to him. Get into Rich Mix. I mean, he's covering off the inside brilliantly, but we make a dive up the inside. Avoid contact, which is pretty impressive. And we're back ahead of Lewis. It took a little bit longer there, a little bit more pressure. But we're back ahead for now. Well, we're coming up to the last lap now. Fuel's on optimal level, so we can't let it drop any lower, which means we have no time to go into Rich Mix. And look at this. It's not a Truly train behind it, it's a Toby train, which starts with Hamilton. Rosberg's behind him. And it's going to be trickier to keep two cars behind rather than the one. Here, Hamilton's got DRS again. This is going to be the problem coming up to the line. Next lap, we can keep Hamilton in front of behind. Because at the fact he can get through before the line, but we can. Of course, we haven't got this opportunity next lap. Just put it right back up the inside. But I feel like with Rosberg behind him, Hamilton's going to feel the pressure. And he'll want to get past us rather than drop down to 6th. But I don't think that Ferrari of Alonso is going to catch up particularly quickly. But it's going to be an interesting final lap. We've used all of our curs though, which is probably a little bit of a mistake. But look how much Vettel's pulled away. We focused a lot more on defence than attack this race, admittedly. But nonetheless, 4th place from 10th, you know, 4th place from any place, even from pole for us would be fantastic. So I'm just impressed how Hamilton's keeping going with that end plate gone. I mean, he's gone away a little bit now. He's going to gain a little bit here because we're not too good round these sort of corners. But is it Hamilton holding up the train now? I'm really not sure. But we said it from the start. It is going to be Button that wins this race, which is good for him. Nice to see the Brit win one. Can't remember who won the first race of the season. But this will start our points campaign off wherever we finish. Well, this makes things interesting now. Lewis isn't quite up behind us, but these two straights at the end don't make things nice. Puts the pressure on a little bit. There's a big train behind us. Collision between ourselves and Hamilton could drop us down massively. We just have to keep straight. We have to focus on ourselves, nobody else. We can see the proximity arrow with Hamilton behind us. He hasn't dived up the inside just yet. But we are just going to have to fight for our lives now. Come around the last corner. Come on, get some straight line speed going. I think we're alright. Hamilton is a lot further away than he has been. And we have finished in 4th place in the Malaysian Grand Prix. That is nothing short. I've said this a few times, but that is nothing short of brilliant. And that was an absolutely fantastic race. Brilliant. And for those of you in the comments that will say, well, this is what's going to happen consistently now. It's certainly not. That was a race I feel that's going to be one that's going to hold up for the rest of the season. I mean, look at those lap times. We were the slowest down to what? Slowest down to Jarek Verne in 14th. But poor race from Maldonado, really. Must have had a problem. Must have had an incident, which means he had to come into the pits early on. But 12 points for me there. That's going to really help. Finishing in front of Hamilton, Rosberg. You can see there was a little bit of a train forming behind us with the likes of Hamilton, Rosberg and Alonso. But a fantastic race, brilliant stuff, and that will give us 12 points to help towards finishing 10th in the end of the season. That puts us up to 7th in the Drivers' Championship. Perez, of course, hanging on to that 2nd place from the last race. No points in that one for Sergio. But everyone down to Kimi Raikkonen has scored points now. Still none for Maldonado, of course. 25 of course, Bruno Senna apparently will be the other driver if he does get called upon at any point during the season. But in terms of the constructors, that puts us up to 6th place, level with Mercedes. And really, that's where we want to be at the end of the season. We want to be in between Lotus and Mercedes if possible, because Sauber aren't going to hold that position. So for us to finish 5th, therefore, Sauber will go behind us, and means that we finish 5th in the constructors. But what a race that was. We're only 2 racing, of course, still very early on in the season. So there is a lot of time to gain. There's a lot of time to go in the season. A lot of points to gain from all teams. But that will do nothing to hurt our stature. Brilliant celebration from the team at the end of the race. Not quite the win that Maldonado got in the same year, but nonetheless, it's definitely a start. And at the start of this career mode, I wouldn't have said that by the 2nd race we'd have got a 4th place finish. I could have argued that By the second race, we wouldn't have even had a points finish, never mind a 4th place. But that is brilliant. A good race, very solid. There we go. We've beat our teammate. Yeah, well, look at Maldonado's face there. If what's it called? I can't think what. Well, I suppose a smile tells everything, doesn't it? A face tells everything. An expression tells everything. That's what we wanted to get down to in the end. An expression tells everything. He's not happy with us there. There we go. Whitmarsh says that Button's a star. Good for him. But there we go. Our career XP has gone up a little bit, and we're nearly up to level 2 now. We didn't gain any XP, interestingly, in the last race. But let's have a quick look at the emails we've got before we get onto it. Again, brilliant. 6 races gained. 6 positions gained, even. A good lap time, good qualifying. But I don't think that's going to be particularly... yeah, good stuff with the tyre wear. Happy about that. Yeah. But of course, the next race will be on Wednesday, which is at Shanghai. Not a track that I'm particularly in love with. I don't like the Chinese circuit. So that might be a return to a bit of a meandering sort of 15th, 16th place. But don't let that put you off. That's probably the worst advertisement anybody could have ever done for the next race. It should still go quite well. There's some interesting races in the season, and that race certainly has propelled us to somewhere that we can definitely work on. But if you've enjoyed that, folks, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment down below as well your thoughts on that race. And subscribe for F1 content twice a week and other sports content on the channel, which will make about 9 or 10 videos a week. So if you like the sound of that, make sure to subscribe. And until the next time, folks, I've been TIJ Gaming, and I'll see you guys in the next video of the F1 2012 Career Mode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.